Hey, everybody. It's your girl, Sabrina, Bree, not Brianna. And we are here for another special edition of High Tea with Bree and my girl, Dion. Before we get to the subject matter of tonight and the guest for tonight, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. It is Monday night. I'm going to ask that you would tag some friends to join this conversation. And I'm also going to ask that you would like and share whatever medium that you're watching us on, whether it's on my page, the High Tea page, or Dion's page. I'm going to ask that you would share this conversation by just sharing the post. Just share it so that people can join in and help us have this amazing conversation. We started this conversation off a couple of weeks ago, really pouring into our kings, our Black men. And tonight we are here to talk about a subject that is very important and specific to them. We're talking about their mental health on tonight. So we want to invite you again to not only share, but to join the conversation. You can do that in real time through the chat. You can post questions. You can talk to us. If you have comments, let us know. We will shout you out. We are so grateful that you have taken the time out to join us tonight. And we're looking forward to spending this time with you. So while you're tagging, while you're getting your food, while you're sharing, I'm going to ask that you would help me welcome to the show my bestest friend, my girl Dion, the radical midwife. What's going on, Grace?
Ta-da! Happy
Ta-ta!
Monday. Ta-da!
Happy Monday.
Hey guys. Hi Bree.
How are you, love bug?
I'm phenomenal now. And I'm
You know,
super
it's
excited.
amazing when we can live life with zero complaints. Wait, I'm trying to get my sounds together because I want to talk to the people.
You trying to get your business right?
Listen, I didn't turn my phone off. Y'all know I get nervous around technology. And I mean, that sucker went off. Seriously, aboard.
Danger, Will Robinson. We play way.
Oh, so I didn't invite the people to talk. If y'all depending on me, your voice is not going to be heard tonight.
It's bad.
Well, God has a ram in the bush.
Oh, hallelujah.
How was your day, Dia?
Listen, my day was super dope. Today was actually a chemo day, but it went very well. And then I had some, as grandma would say, I had some business. So I came on down to the office and took care of my business. And this is actually the highlight of my day. I've been looking forward to this since we had the conversation. And I believe it's going to be a phenomenal chit chat on this evening. And so that being said, I'll let you do the solid of bringing in old Raspy.
Okay. All right. Papa Smurf. We're going to call him Papa Smurf tonight.
Papa Smurf.
So one of the things that made this conversation particularly special to me and Dion's heart is that it was initiated by our brother Garland. He reached out and said, "Can we have this specific conversation?" And because we believe in the importance of the conversation, and simply because he asked, we dropped everything. You want to have this conversation? We're gonna have this conversation. So he was with us, I think 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks
And
ago.
he was a phenomenal guest, and we had a phenomenal conversation. So I'm going to ask you guys to help us welcome back one of our dearest brothers. Tonight, he given us his sexy Barry White Earl Jones voice. So ladies, hold on to your hats and your teacups and welcome back our brother, Garland Harris.
And he got on gray sweats.
He better stay seated.
What's up, y'all?
Hey, G.
I left my singing voice in Houston. So
Sure you did. You did. That's from serenading all them ladies while you were out there gallivanting and vacationing. We're just glad to have you back. We glad you made it back safe, Doc. Mm-hmm. They kidnap your kind where we come from, especially with
But it was nice. I had a good reunion with my Navy buddies, and this conversation is something that I'm sure that they're going to benefit from too.
Nice. Are they listening in, Garland? Did you share this? And are they?
I've shared it, but they're all probably passed out right now. So
They'll catch the replay.
And I was about to say that's a great opportunity for us to say that this conversation will be accessible
Mhm.
tomorrow for those that are in different time zones.
Absolutely.
As we get ready to get into the conversation, we have, hey, Benita Adams
Hi,
Jones.
Anita. Hi, Dee Dee.
We and Dee Dee Felder. Hey, Grace. We have a few, at least one or two more guests joining us. So, Dion, I'm going to give you the honor to do that while I still
Absolutely.
try to get my phone together so I can talk to the people. I'm going to mute for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay. So that being said, you guys, I'm honored to bring a new guest in, and you guys haven't heard his voice, but I promise you he's got a whole lot to say. I'm excited because he is in the process of his healing and recovery on several different levels. And I want y'all to know this is from me to y'all. Listen, I love our men. And as a boy mom, I think it's really important that we start to lean in a little bit more when our community of men is asking, number one, how can we support you? That's a really big deal. That being said, I want to introduce you guys to my brother. I've known him since I was a little girl. We grew up in the same neighborhood. His friend, who actually we just lost a few weeks ago, was one of my dearest friends as a child. We used to play together and laugh together. And so, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome Tony Gilliam, my sister's husband, honey. In the crowd.
Hey,
Wow. Hi, Tony.
how are
Well,
you guys doing?
wonderful. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
having me. It's an honor to be. I've been watching you all for a couple years now, and I missed you during your hiatus.
And we had a high 80. You
Hiatus,
hear me?
yes. But definitely, you guys are hitting the subjects that are near and dear to me personally. So,
Very good.
just to be able to say something to encourage older men, younger brothers to get that mental health check, it's important.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
That's a big deal.
Absolutely. And we're going to get into the conversation. Dion, do we have another guest right now or we have some time?
He's texting me now. Let me
Okay.
help him navigate in. I'll do
Okay.
that.
So while you're doing that, I want to set the stage for the conversation so we can go ahead and get into it. And you guys know that I usually do that by just bringing us in on some facts of what's going on. So tonight we're talking about specifically depression with our Black men. Okay. So as we think about depression as a mental health condition, I want you all to know that mental health tends to be a taboo topic among men in general.
Mhm.
Given a choice, most men would rather not talk about it. Unfortunately, this is often truer for Black men who experience mental health problems at the same rate as other men of other nationalities, but Black men continue to be under recognized and undertreated in the recovery sphere. In some communities, mental health isn't always prioritized or acknowledged, and many feel like Black men are expected to endure problems like anxiety or depression rather than confront them. Okay. Less than 50% of all Americans with a mental health disorder get treatment, but that rate is even lower for our Black men. In the United States, the average percentage of African Americans receiving mental health services like medication therapy is half that of their white counterparts. Okay. And when they do go to get help, the quality of care that Black men receive is often less quality than their counterparts. Okay. There's a couple more things that I want to share with you. The poor quality of mental health treatment that's being offered to African American men can have far-reaching effects that extends beyond the individual. When mental illness goes untreated, it contributes to higher rates of substance abuse, incarceration, suicide, and homelessness, which in turn negatively impacts the state of mind. Okay. Black men are particularly vulnerable because they are more likely to encounter other challenges, such as um, the social economic disconnect, police brutality, and other things that threaten specifically the mental health of Black men. I'm going to stop there. I have a few more things that I want to share, but I want to just check in with Tony and with Garland. What did you think about what I've said so far?
Well, coming from me, you hit the nail on the head with a lot of that, and something that I want to add to it is we've all had that family member or those family members that we just say, "Oh, he crazy,"
Mm-hmm.
because for a Black male, it's a sign of weakness to
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge pain. Period.
Mm-hmm.
We can't acknowledge any type of pain. Oh, you a sucker. You this and
Mm-hmm.
you that. So we just sweep it all under the rug, and we deal with pain.
Mm-hmm.
We are expected to. And it's kind of rough when you're expected to do something that's actually tearing you up in the inside. Like, when the last time you seen any of the brothers cry?
Mm-hmm.
Nope, ain't happening. That's a
Mm-hmm.
sign of weakness. But
Mm-hmm.
on the inside, or even I've seen guys go through relationship issues where I know they probably crying when ain't nobody looking. It's like, man, we got to let each other know it's all right to just discharge all of that. But
Mhm.
I just want to add that to what you were saying.
Thank you.
Hey, before you proceed, my brother Ty is here. So we have Tony and Ty. Also wanted to welcome Lady Tracy from Atlanta. Thank you for tuning in.
Hello.
We absolutely appreciate you from Atlanta. Hey, Christina Joy. Hey, Richard Palmer. And
Hello.
yes, we absolutely appreciate you all and your input.
That's right.
And just your feedback is phenomenal. Before we continue, I want to add Ty to the conversation. Again, he was with us a couple of weeks ago and jump started this conversation. And I know he'll have a whole bunch to add as a barber,
Mm-hmm.
simply because we
Mhm.
know your barber is not just your barber.
That's a
Your
therapist,
barber is
honey.
your therapist, your
Right.
barber is your best friend, your barber is your counselor. So, with no further ado, I want to introduce to the room Tyrone Langford. Hi, Ty.
Hey everybody, how y'all
Hey,
Good
doing?
Ty.
evening.
Welcome. We're glad to have you. Glad
Pleasure
to.
to be here.
Thank you. You are right on time. We're just jump
Mhm.
starting this conversation. On the heels of what um, Garland shared, and on the heels of what Richard, if you guys are not paying attention to the chat, Richard, thank you so much for your
Yeah.
vulnerability and your transparency. It's going to take that type of willingness for us to really have a conversation and reach the hearts of men that are listening. I want to share this next thought with you all, this next truth. African American men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than African American women.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
hmm
4 times more. That is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts about that?
Wow. I can tell you one thing. It's because, just like what Garland said, you know, it's because we got to hold everything in,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to hold it together.
At least that's the
I'm,
impression that has
Mm-hmm.
been given
yes.
historically.
And, you can't show weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know I've battled that a couple of times where, truthfully, I was just tired and wanted to end it all
Mm-hmm.
because all of the medicating myself with alcohol just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was going to say earlier is, sometimes we see our friends who they drink a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, wow, every time I see them they're drunk, but
Mm-hmm.
we never want to go in and talk to them and find out what it is that's causing that.
Mm-hmm.
We just rather sit back and talk about them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know that, and part of my recovery, I had to take responsibility for myself, but also, talking to my friends and finally being open about where I was
Mm-hmm.
and what I'm doing. And, and it's like in some of the classes that I took, I realized that I'm responsible for my healing as well as the
Mhm.
therapist, or the person who is running the class.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, that's one thing that's important too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
But,
very important.
I tell you, if, I just remember I was, part of my depression was because of long-term illness.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was like there was one thing that kept me from stopped me from doing it. And that was the fact that at the time, my brother was taking care of my mother,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother was suffering from dementia.
Mm.
So I knew there was a lot on his mind,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and he
And
already had
this,
enough. So,
imagine if you had.
right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I gotta do this really quick because I told you guys I'm a boy mom. One of my one of my gifts from God, one of the children that helped me to heal and become this woman that I am still becoming. Hi, son. I love
Mm-hmm.
you very much, and
Mm-hmm.
you will not be a statistic ever. You mean everything to your Yami. Thank you for
Right.
checking in, babe. And to Wanzi, yes, we did. We lost somebody to suicide, and it's another one of the reasons, and I can't wait to hear, and this is from a retired stylist, because we are a lot of times the first line of defense. I can't wait to hear Ty chime in just as a barber, and because we don't necessarily have to hear to know, because we get so close to our clients. You see somebody every week, you can tell when they're having a bad day. You can tell when they're completely thrown off. When they marriage and went to the left, or their relationship or whatnot. And so, real quick, Ty, jump in just on your thoughts, your ideas, and your feelings with regard to just depression in and of itself, suicidal thoughts, just the mental health check.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys talking about suicide. I mean, I've been sitting behind a barber chair for years, having to talk people, out of out, talk people out of homicide.
Right.
You talk, I mean, that's a whole nother aspect of it. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
I
literally
agree.
had young men come and sit in my chair talking to me about, different things that's going on in their lives, or whether it's a relationship or something going on in the streets, and they come, they stressed about this and they stressed about that. They like, man, I'm ready to go do something to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They
Right.
ain't thinking of, they ain't thinking about killing themselves. They thinking about going to
Hurt
do something to
somebody
somebody else.
else.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Oftentimes I've actually seen it actually happen. I think that, oftentimes too, like it was already said, we just have to be so tough. I've been through my fair share of stuff, and used to be in the streets, and as a young man in and out of jail and stuff like that. I think that oftentimes as black men, we may not even know that we're stressed. We can't even pinpoint it. It's so easy for us to kind of normalize pain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're just built. I always say, I'm built for it tough. You know what I mean? I just endure. I just um I just endure a lot of things, and oftentimes I can't even. There's been times in my life where you know I may do some reflecting. It's been times, I just was riding down the street, and one minute I'm crying and the next minute I'm laughing. You know what I mean? It's just so quick. I go from one emotion to the other. And then I start to, maybe have, days or whatever where I'm feeling weak, or I'm feeling this and I'm like, man, Tyrone, are you are you stressed? Like it's hard for me to claim it. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
we want to be so tough, and we have to and like seeking out therapy, or like me personally, I've been told in the past, hey, you need to see a therapist. You might want to consider going to counseling. I actually started some marital counseling when I was married with my ex-wife. Number one, I tore up out of it. I'm like, I'm not doing this. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes it's embarrassing for us as black men. Um, we just don't want to seek out that help. You know what I mean? We just have to be so tough.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Ty, thank you for kicking the door open to that, because
Yeah.
that's one of the questions we're going to talk about: the why, the what do you need, and how can we help you? Before we do that, though, all of you gentlemen said some really good things, and I want to speak to for just a second the women in your lives, the daughters, the wives, the moms, the sisters who want to help you, but they're not even sure what they're looking for. So we're going to talk about what depression looks like, because there's that stigma that, depression is you sitting in a room rocking back and forth, crying and you can't get out of bed. Depression don't look like that on a black man,
No,
because y'all built for it
we
tough.
hide it good. We hide it.
Listen, because you're built for it tough. So let me tell
Mhm.
you what depression looks like so we can look for it. Ty, you said something. You said that you have talked people out of homicide. And what you did was that was a form of suicide. That's giving up. Once I
Yeah,
do this, my life is over. So that's still a form of suicide and giving up. What you were doing is talking people into living. But I'm not going to preach. Hold on one second.
I might though before this segment is
All
over
right.
because
Listen,
listen, me
physical,
personally, I
uh-huh.
love y'all. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Physical and emotional signs. Depression symptoms can be different on everyone. Someone may, Someone with depression may feel sad, anxious, empty, hopeless, guilty, worthless, helpless, tired,
tired.
tired, irritable.
Mm.
I mean, grouchy all the time, sir.
Mhm.
Restless. You can't get rest. No matter how much you sleep, it don't come easy. But here's some ones that you haven't probably considered that could be a sign of depression: aches, pains, headaches, cramps, problems with your digestive system can be
Mhm.
traced back to unmanaged health, well, emotional health, loss of interest in activities that you used to enjoy, including sex,
Mm-hmm.
problems concentrating, remembering information, or making decisions.
Mhm.
Sign of depression, problems falling asleep or staying asleep or sleeping too much are common signs of depression in Black men.
Mm.
I'll rest right there.
Yeah,
Shh, that was a lot.
yeah. I've had a few of those symptoms, and my mother caught it in me. I was sleeping hours, waking up exhausted, and and depression. Here's what I'll say about it: it's really like a drug. Once you've tasted it, you can't stop tasting it. You will easily fall back into it for little things, and that's why I work out like I do, and everything I do is endorphin driven. It's just I got to get my heart rate going because
Mm-hmm.
I've tasted it, and if something happens to somebody I know, I go through Facebook, somebody dies, if I don't catch myself, it'll depress me because
Hmm.
I've been there before. So
Hmm.
We had a
that's
lot of I'm
yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Go
Chief.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say we had a lot of really good comments. I just wanted to touch on those.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim, for sharing that this 7 years of therapy has been really helpful. It's nice to see a Black man who will stand on. I made a decision to get some help. That help has really not just helped me, but it solidified that me making that decision was essential at that particular time in my life. And Anthony Jackson, thank you for chiming in. Also, I love you. I miss you. I wish I could hug your neck. We weren't taught to have an open door to emotions as African American men, and that's one of the things, one of the stigmas I try to break with my boys on a constant base. And I hear them just because culture reinforces we don't talk about our emotions. What are you feeling like right now in this moment? What's going through your mind? What are your thought processes? I tend to ask consistently because I know what the stigma is as it relates to the world. Also, Mel, I agree with a whole bunch of unresolved trauma, and it's really hard to get your finger or get anything wrapped around it because it is extremely underaddressed. And Von
Mhm.
Seal, I agree.
Absolutely.
Overeating, under eating can also be a sign
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
people being full of stress and or anxiety. Real
Absolutely.
quick, Sabrina, before you shift, you said, and I think we all have.
What's that one, Dia?
This one is from Wanzi. It says, for me, depression is having no criminal history with over a decade of experience in a trade submit a job application only to receive an email stating I'm overqualified. That's tough
It
because
is.
those are the type of odds that we face. And Mwanza, I'm gonna say this publicly. One time you made a post, I called Dion Clark and told Dion Clark to check on you because I was concerned because I didn't have a door. And for women like us, who are at a place where we're healthy and well, and it matters to us what our like our choices are different. We run into a whole bunch of men dealing with depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, the spirit of worthlessness. And it's a lot to overcome, which is why we're having this conversation. What can we do to support you?
Mhm.
How can we serve you in such a way that it gives you the safe space to say, listen, I need help getting help.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. We need people we can go to get help
Yep.
because to have a person of color that has grown up similar to the way I've grown up, I can vent to that person better. But there are not a lot of therapists of color in the community. And like our young sisters, they need that. I mean, that's why I wish we get a bunch of them to chime in too, because we need to sit down with somebody. I need to sit down with somebody that knows how I may have grown up. You might have grew up the same way. And when I start venting to you, you don't look at me like, are you serious? Like you get it. So that's what we need. First of all, is therapists from within our community. We got to encourage that.
We
Mhm.
working on it.
We are
Yeah.
Andrea. Sorry.
We working
Can I
on
say that
it.
now? Andrea.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrea.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, that's true, Garland. I think African American therapists, men and women, only represented 4%
Mm.
of psychiatrists and therapists, but the number has gone up. Oh my God, so much. But that's another barrier that we can talk about. I wanted to also mention anger, that unregulated emotion that Ty was like, 1 minute I'm laughing, 1 minute I'm crying. That dysregulation. I often like to think about anger is depression turned inside out.
Hmm.
Mm,
So a
mhm.
lot of times he's so angry. What else is he though?
Coping.
Right.
Coping.
Okay.
That's what he's doing.
Tolerating. Exist.
Right?
Mhm.
What else is he, sis? He angry, but what else is he? So that brings me to the question based on Ty and based on Tony. You said that when you started talking about it, I want to know, did you start talking about it because someone asked you and you felt safe, or you just knew you needed to start talking about it? That's your question. And Ty, you said the first time you went to therapy, you tore out of there. So I want to know, what would it have taken for you to have stayed your butt in that seat and to do the work? What did you need? What didn't you get? Because this therapist on the line that's listening, and they need to know, once Black men come in there, how can we hold you?
That's
Well,
a
I,
good.
I guess for me, the very first time I went and saw a therapist, it was because my father told me to go get help
Mm.
because he saw what I was going through. And so the first time I went and got help, and it was cool. It worked out for a while. And then years down the line, my circumstances changed. But the difference is, for me, even now, is I have a group of brothers that I pray with in the morning. Safe space. We talk about anything and everything. Um, the men's ministry, the Bible, the Bible talk we have on Thursday nights. Safe space. We could talk about different things in there. And I just remember on the first time that me and my wife, well, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, I told her what I had been through. And I told her, where I had thoughts of suicide.
Mm.
And to my amazement, she's still here.
Can we do something really quick? And I want to do this to create an atmosphere of learning how to celebrate our little victories. Tony is on his journey of not just healing mentally, but also healing physically. Tony, how much weight have you lost?
Oh gosh. Well, right now, based because of what I'm going through, I've gained some of it back, and that was fluid. But the most I've lost is 175 pounds.
Come on.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
That's
Yeah.
good.
And so it's like one of the things I used to, part of my depression, how do you deal with your weight and be in a relationship and the person not eat like you? Well, I was blessed with uh, a queen who's had the surgery that I'm looking to get. So she's already eating that way. So it's not a big deal.
Tony, I
Yay!
don't know
But
if you can see the comments, but people are
People
celebrating
are
you.
celebrating you.
You have to
yeah,
go back
thank
and look
you.
at it if you can't see it,
Mhm.
but you're being celebrated, brother.
Yeah, I've been blessed. And it's like, honestly, one of the things I learned about depression is everybody gets in a depressed state
Oh, yeah,
At
and it's
some point.
fine.
that's
But
true.
the thing about it is you can't stay there because, like we were saying in my class, depression is like digging a hole and you're in the hole. And instead of filling it up, you continue to do things to dig it deeper and deeper and deeper. And so, what we have to do is we have to learn how to do things to fill it back up. And one of the things is definitely talking with, finding that safe group, who we can talk to, who you can be honest with. Because I'll tell you, ever since February 2nd, 2005, I've been a crier
Mm-hmm.
That's
because that
good.
was when my hero passed. My
Okay.
father died.
Okay.
And, Ravonda and I have sat up here, watched movies, and she looked at me like, "You're crying?" And I'll be like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
like little things that would touch me. And it's like,
Yes.
it's even worse now because
Yes.
That's good stuff.
I'll be
We
watching an award show. It's like football players getting awards, and I'll be at the, but,
so
Listen,
wait,
we love your sensitivity.
I got
Tony,
one
but
take a
more
it's,
minute.
celebration though before we
Okay.
move on. And so this past Sunday, and he gonna get me for doing this. I don't care. Ty got baptized.
He
I ain't gonna,
did.
I ain't gonna get you for that. That's good news. That's good.
That
congratulations.
is that is ridiculously amazing news. And I wish I could have been there. They probably would have been like, "You can't get in the pool, ma'am. That's disrespectful." This is baptism. I'm so proud of you. And I'm saying this because when you start wanting to get to a place of healing, wanting to get to a place of out, listen, mind, body, spirit, and soul, all of
Mhm.
those work cooperatively towards out. And so, Ty, congratulations. I'm
Thank
so
you. Thank
excited
you.
for you and your
Thank
journey.
you.
I am so excited about the fact that he drew you, right? With his loving kindness has
Mhm.
he drawn you. And so that made my heart extremely happy. Daryl Nathan Phillips, it's great to see you, kind sir. To all of you, thank you guys for helping us celebrate these amazing, phenomenal, strong, brave men. I
Yes.
love them.
Yes. I love seeing all the black men on the chat. Ty, do you remember the question I gave you?
I do about just what would it take for me to have stayed in
To
therapy?
have stayed. Yes.
Well, I mean, for me, um, for that particular situation, going with my ex-wife, it was a black woman, and
Woman.
I felt like I was being double teamed.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so um I just ran up out of there. I mean, the therapist literally, I can't remember what question was posed, but I gave an answer. My ex-wife looked at her, they locked eyes, and she looked at her like, "You see what I got to deal with?"
Mm.
You know, and I felt double teamed, and I said, "Look, I don't have no time for this. I'm gone." and I never turned, and I never went back. She continued to go, but I was done. Now I
Okay.
think that for us, for black men to wanna, one thing that I've heard, one thing that I know for sure is that black men are comfortable talking to other black men,
That's it.
especially,
That was what I was gonna say.
especially, like me. I love talking to my OGs. I just posted the other day. You can get some of the best sound advice. I mean, I went to Richmond the other day, and I sat down and just talked to my pops, and I was just overwhelmed with comfort with some of the most simplest things that he said. And while talking to me, calling me son, and it was just, it just felt so good to talk to Pop. Often I don't really go to my father and tell him different things that's going on in my life, and I just don't. You know what I mean? A little bit, there's a little bit of a disconnect there. I mean, I love my father, but I don't. We don't really talk much about things going on in my life. But bottom line, I think that in order we have to talk to other black men that can relate. We
Yes.
gravitate to someone that has been there.
Yep.
You could say, man, I've been there. You know what I mean? I know exactly what you're going through. Going back to Dion, you shouted out Anthony Jackson. That's a walking movie right there. That young man has been through so much, the loss of a father, um, his mother, going through his own, depression and substance abuse and just different things. And for him to pull it together,
That's
I
my
mean,
sweet love, honey. I've
man,
known him since he was a boy. I
let
love
me,
me some Anthony Jackson.
me and that brother, we call each other regularly, and he will call me. Some of us we call each other my Mackin, which
My
it don't
Mac.
mean my Mackin. It don't. It ain't. It's not in relation to Mackin or on women or nothing. It's just a term of endearment for us. And so he'll call me. He'll be like, "My Mackin, what's going on, man? I need a good word for today. Tell me something good." And we just bounce stuff off each other.
Feeding
And
each
like
other.
like brother was saying, you have to get, like, I got a group of guys. We got group meets going on. We got different things going on to where you know black men. Like, I got black men in my life where we're always talking, to each other, just bouncing stuff off each other, and just tapping in with each other. Man, I'm just tapping in with you, seeing what's going on with you for the day. So talking to another black man is a safe place. You have to talk to someone who can
It,
relate to you, who has been through some of the things that you are going through.
what I got from both you and Tony, I got anchor from Tony. Like he has some solid anchors, and his sound like they're really spiritual in their foundation. And Ty, what I heard from you is community, right? And I was going to actually lean into you talking about talking to your father, because I just got a picture of
I,
God as the heavenly
listen,
father.
I
But
had to keep it together.
I
I,
don't want to
I
make
like
this
I like
a
to win
super
in.
spiritual conversation, but I could have went there.
Mhm.
But Garland, what I would like for you to do for us, because there, like I said, there are a lot of wives and women and sisters and just the female representation listening. Can you tell us from a male perspective, a black male who have struggled with anxiety and depression, as your support system, what should we do? But most importantly, what are we doing wrong? What shouldn't we do? Help
Mm.
us. And
Yeah.
don't say just stop talking all the time, because we can't.
You know what? Just don't give up on us. And when you say something, say it with love, because I might not hear it with love. I might hear it. It may come through wrong. And I learned a lot, going through my counseling. So we communicate differently. And then, man, I don't know. All I can say is pray for us. Like y'all have prayed for me, both of you ladies. Just it's that question right there, man. If I knew that, I could save a lot of marriages,
Mhm.
because a lot of marriages are ending because one person is going through something and the other person don't know how to deal with it. And I
I
don't know.
think if I can interject on that,
For sure.
I think one thing, and I mean, it's sad that often, you know, men, when we stress, we run to all the wrong things.
Oh,
So
women, other women.
men,
Sound me off.
men do not like to sit in our cave, in our bubble, and deal with what's really going on. So we run to the street, we start clubbing, we drinking, we start doing things that we ain't got no business doing. We
Hmm.
start messing with other women. We got to stay busy. So unfortunately, sometimes what can happen is that woman in your life, she got to start dealing with your mess. And you you can't help you as a woman when you know that your man is doing stuff he ain't got no business doing. It's almost impossible to be that support system because now you got because I know for a fact that I did this to my ex-wife, and I used to my wife, my ex-wife is I used to call her a Bible thumper. I mean, she was so heavenly minded that it did her no earthly good. Everything
Hmm.
she she leaned on the Lord for everything. And I used to tell her, I used to be like, my ex-wife literally at one point turned me away from the Lord.
Mm.
That's all it was about. And I'm not blaming her, but it kind of pushed me out into the streets, and I was just completely turned off. And so at some point, it became impossible for her to be my support system when now she's dealing with her own stuff from some stuff that I'm subjecting her to. And so I think that's why it's hard for especially black women to support black men because we start putting y'all through stuff, dragging y'all in our mess. So
Listen, hurting people, hurting people.
Yeah.
I'm
right,
trying to help you and you stabbing me. No.
I'm trying to help
No.
you, and you stabbing me. And then another thing, I mean, brokenness attracts brokenness. You got
Listen.
people that's getting into relationships,
Trauma bond.
everything, yeah, trauma bonds, everybody moving quick and fast, and I always say that we're all good at what's easy, hanging out, going to dinner, this, that, and the third, having sex, whatever the case may be, people hooking up and they doing all this easy stuff. And
Hmm.
then what's you know killing these relationships is when you get to the nitty gritty of the hard stuff.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
So
just
Bahati says, continue to support and hold us high. Once we get low and we see you have turned off, we get into a dangerous place. That a couple of comments before that, Radana, hey Soror, said she made a comment about men allowing themselves to be vulnerable,
Mhm.
right? And so I think that there is the disconnect. Like women want to help. We don't want to be injured while we helping. We
Right.
understand
No,
that there may be
compatible.
some injury, but
Mhm.
it can't be fatal. Helping you
Right.
can't be to our detriment.
Don't
So
say
Right.
how
it.
can we strike the balance to where we're not risking our own mental and emotional wellness and you allowing yourself to be vulnerable
I
so that
got
we
the
can help
answer.
you? Okay.
I got the answer for that one. One thing is, if I open up to you, never, ever, never, ever, never, ever, never, ever use it against me in an argument as a
Mm-hmm.
weakness.
Okay. That's fair.
Because what is happening, I know what made me gun shy was,
Mhm.
being in a relationship and being open with my feelings. And then at another time, have them thrown back in my face.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
Don't
made
I've
me just shut down.
down.
Yep.
that has
But
happened to me as well. I've been vulnerable and expressed things to women, and they straight weaponize it. You use it against me later.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think
Big one.
for most men, especially if you happen to have a couple of young brothers who you talk to, and you tell them the first thing you're gonna tell them is don't tell them how you feel,
Mm,
Mm.
because if you do, they'll use it against you.
mm.
But
So
what you have to. But I think one of the things I'm blessed with is we have rules of engagement.
mhm,
And so with the rules, first thing is it's like I still love you no matter what. We just going through something.
mhm,
And then we have to talk and understand, I have to let her say what she has to say, and then I have to digest it and then give her feedback.
Mhm.
And the same with her,
Mhm. Tony,
you know.
before you give us all the rules, we want you to save some of that. We may have to do a part two, but you said something and it struck a chord with a lot of people, including myself. And as the female representation here, Dion and I, Grace, I'm going to turn to you. He mentioned about opening up and having his feelings and his share weaponized, and
Mhm.
both Tony and Garland, Ty and Garland affirmed that. And then men in the chat affirmed it. So if you had to stand in place in proxy for the women who have done this to the men in their lives, knowingly and unknowingly, and apologize, Grace, what would you say to heal that wound to this brothers?
So the very first thing that I would say, I think to um, prayerfully encourage healing, and this is from standing behind the chair and being that therapist to that woman who perhaps grew up in a home that was single parented, that was raised by a woman only, that never experienced a man being in the house. And then I'll talk as a daughter and say that number one, some things I don't know that we think are lethal. Now, honestly, I don't think it's ever intentional. I think it is experiential. I think that unfortunately we've experienced the expression of love from such a toxic place that we haven't been given the tools or the structure to love you well. And if we could do it all over again, and if we could erase it all, I would ask that you forgive us.
Mhm.
Literally, for not knowing what to do and not knowing how to help and not knowing how to heal. I would ask that you give us another opportunity to get this thing called loving you well right. Because we really, like, seriously, and this is from a reformed, independent woman. There's no other way that I can say it. And the truth is, we've learned how to survive and not thrive. And so our loving you comes from a survival tactic, not a place of purity and wholeness, and even the know how to do it. Structure, skill, and strategy that we should have, because the majority of the time we're always loving you from disadvantaged spaces of not having been given a visual aesthetic to connect what loving you really looks like from a healthy place, not really having been given the tools to even know what it looks like to have the capacity to take what you have, not only weaponize it, but to take it and take it to heart and take it to the right person to manage the outcome. And so now I know who manages the outcome, and so I know where to carry it. You understand what I'm saying? Not every woman will know that, but
Hmm.
I know how to take it where it'll never come back to you,
Mhm.
right? And so the only way that I know how to do that is for real through the grace of God and really being able to cast my cares effectively from a healed heart. And so one of the things I think owe you is a healed us,
Mhm.
right? And only a healed us can not only apologize, but can actually behave as if our repentance is authentic.
That's right. That's right. So there are ladies in the chat that's standing in proxy with us for the women in your lives that have hurt you. And we are saying we owe you a debt of gratitude for putting up with some of the stuff that came out of our mouths. And we owe you an apology. And we hope that you will receive it. And like Dion says, give us an opportunity to love you better and to love you right. We apologize.
Yeah. And we love you for real in real life.
Ferlanda says, I'm 55 years old and I have yet to find out what love is really about. You know, as we begin to shift, it's almost been an hour. I want to talk about capacity. because we can't give what we don't have. And Dion talked about broken systems. And it's important for us to have this conversation because we want to break this toxic cycle.
Mhm.
And I think one of the things that we're doing well in this generation is we're learning how to be brother and sister. As a sister, I can love my brother,
Mhm.
For real.
right? We are mastering how to be siblings. We got to have a higher conversation about how to be intimate partners with each other
You hear me?
without hurting each other and being safe places. And so we appreciate you all for even opening up the door for us to apologize. Ty, you got your thinking face on.
I
Garland, I need you to turn the light on.
You hear me? I mean, he thinking hard. You see him?
Yeah,
That
Garland,
brain
turn the
going
light on. Ty,
clickety
you need a
clack,
light on too.
clickety
But
clack, clickety clack.
Ty, what are you thinking?
No, it's just, I mean, just hearing you sisters talk, it's just, I'm getting emotional. It's, y'all really just pulling and tugging at my heart because oftentimes we don't get sisters that talk to us like this.
Not at
Uh,
all.
we don't get the gentleness, just the sweetness, the kindness. We don't get it, and so just to hear it is just, I'm getting emotional. Y'all really pulling at my heart right now, really, because you know, a lot oftentimes we get women in our lives that's just beating us down. You know what I mean? And one thing I've been starting to realize lately, me myself, is it feels so much more better just talking to women of God versus some of the stuff that I'm used to. I'm getting to a point to where I don't even like a woman that cuss. You know what I mean? It just feels so refreshing to talk to some women that are soft and gentle and articulate and just just the way y'all speaking. It's just really emotional for me. You know what I mean? I just love it, and I really thank y'all for. I'm really grateful that it's on y'all heart for us to even have these conversations.
Well, I definitely don't want to make you cry, but I want you to know that you deserve it.
Hmm.
You're worthy of it. And it is out there. Church girls winning. You hear me? Church
Yeah,
girls
no doubt.
winning.
Right. I,
We feel a
I went
little hood too.
when I went and got baptized on Sunday, I just was it was when I walked up, everyone was so inviting. Just the atmosphere, it felt so good. I was so it was so inviting that I did not have a nervous bone in my body. I
Nice.
felt like this is where I am supposed to be. It felt so good to me.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. We have a
Mhm.
few more minutes. Garland, what were you thinking?
Mm, pass on me on this one.
Okay. All
I'm a,
right.
I'm a, I had a lot of thoughts going through my head, but it'll take a minute for me
To
to.
articulate it. No, I get it.
Right, right.
I
It's
get
just
But
it.
we
all
don't
the
want to
things.
pass on you. Can we come back to you?
Well, I will say the things that Sabrina was saying. It just made me want to match a woman's energy because when somebody's coming at you like that, how could
Mhm.
you do anything other than match her energy? If she's telling you all of this, man, I mean, we always talk about matching energy when it's on some negative stuff, but when it's some positive energy, match that. If she's telling you all of this, take her shoes off and rub her feet. I mean, it just made me think like that's the type of energy that I want to match. And that's what I was taking out of that the whole time you were saying it.
Nice. Nice. We're going to get there. We're
Like,
going to get
We gonna
there.
get there.
One relationship, one community at a time.
mhm,
Man, we started this conversation off talking about depression, right? When
yeah,
black becomes blue, the mental health of black men. And
right.
one of the things that I'm learning, even as a clinician, but like as a real person, like love is the answer. Love is the key. It's the cure. It's the remedy. We got to love each other better.
Right.
Hmm.
Tony, I'm going to give it to you for a last short comment, and then Grace, I'm throwing it to you.
Well, I think, I appreciate the apology because, you know, it's been a long time, and a lot of stuff that was built up. But having women around me and in my life who have helped ease that has made it easier. And then just being open. But like you said, when you love somebody, you want to do everything you can to make them feel good and to make things better and to work through things. So I would say friendship is important. Friendship in a relationship is important
Mhm.
because if the relationship is having troubles, that friendship is what sustains it until you get that worked out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and part of the friendship is being able to be open with somebody.
That's right. It goes
So,
right back to it. Thank you
yep,
for that. Grace, I'm going to yield to you for your final thoughts and comments. This has been an amazing conversation. Garland, Tony, Ty, tomorrow, tonight, go back and read the chat.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Chat,
definitely.
haven't been
chat
able
should
to, go
encourage your
back and
heart.
read the chat.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right, Grace.
The chat should absolutely encourage your heart. So I have this saying that I adopted from Dr. Matthew Stevenson, that people that are loved well grow fast.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And I will never forget. I was standing in my closet in 2007, and the Holy Spirit said to me, just as plainly as I'm speaking to you, Dion, perfect love. And I have spent the last 14 years of my life perfecting love and
Mm-hmm.
really giving God the room and agreeing with his plan for my life in loving people well from all walks of life. And what it has done is it has served my heart as a woman. The places that were stony, the places that were broken, I allowed his love to be liquid healing for my mind and for my heart and for my spirit and for my soul. And so it is so important, not just for me, but for Grace and I to extend that love in such a way that it becomes contagious, building communities of love. Declare Victory is formed and shaped out of love. My relationships and close connections are shaped out of love. And that being said, we extend this love as broadly as we can because I know what difference it makes, from being a mother to being a sister to being a friend to being a teacher, a mentor. But you gentlemen, for all very different reasons, um, Garland, I've watched you heal. I watched you grow. I'm watching you in your process. Ty, I'm so proud of you. I don't really have words to express how proud I am of you, for real. And I could cry because I watched you decide to live,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so my prayer is that this become a community where it's not just a whole bunch of catty girls talking. Listen, for real, in real life, I'm somebody's wife. Zero question, hands down. I'm not white material, but I need a husband that has the capacity to receive the level of love that I have to give. It's a lot,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm at this stage in my life, the mistakes and the errors I don't have time for. I need a man well enough to be able to accept and receive the love that I have. And how do we get to those communities unless we contribute to them? What you do for others, God will make happen for you. And so, that being said, my prayer tonight is that this conversation does something in your heart that imparts, a seed of love that will only grow and expand, that you would have the capacity to allow someone to love you so greatly and so deeply that you forgot you were ever wounded. My prayer is that every generational curse of brokenheartedness, of downtroddenness, of worthlessness, of not being valued, of not being appreciated is broken, and that your children never suffer a day from historical situations that you had no knowledge of. I pray that every iniquity, every bloodline transgression, every bloodline curse be broken by the blood and the power of Jesus. I pray that the Holy Spirit would lead and guide you to the place of purpose that you were promised for from the set foundation of the earth. I pray your daughters never hurt as the result of some broken man who doesn't have the capacity to love them. And I want to remind you that we love you, but I promise you, Jesus loves you the most.
Amen.
That's all.
Listen, if that wasn't an altar call and a benediction,
Ain't that something right there? Woo!
Mm-hmm.
listen, this has been an amazing conversation. Garland, thank you so much for
Thank you.
reaching out and
Thank you.
asking for us to have it. You guys are now official talk show hosts. You are no longer a guest. And so I want to publicly invite you all, you gentlemen, you kings of the
Amazing gentleman.
community, beautiful Black men, to come back anytime. Anytime there's something on your heart that you want to talk about, do what you did, and we will stop everything and have a conversation. You have blessed us tonight, and we honor you, we adore you, and most importantly, we are holding you not only accountable, because we good at that as Black women, we holding you accountable, but know that we're holding you up.
I know that's right.
We're holding you up.
Appreciate that.
We're
Thank you,
holding you
sir.
up. All
Love
right.
y'all.
With that being said, on behalf of myself, Bree, not Brianna, and my brother Tony, my brother Ty, my brother Garland, and my sister Grace. This has been an amazing evening. If you guys want to hear these gentlemen come back and talk about some stuff, I bet y'all they got some good relationship tea. Put it in the chat and we listen.
Hey, honey.
Garland got some tea.
Garland got 2 tea bags.
If y'all want to get some answers to some relationship questions from some real men, put it in the chat. We'll bring them back. We will talk about it. It has been a pleasure. We love you guys. Have an amazing week on purpose, and we'll see you next time. Say bye, guys. Bye.
Thanks for having us on. Have a good evening. Peace.
Good evening. Love y'all.
Good evening. Love you back.
Love y'all too.
Don't
Love
hang
y'all.
up, Tony.